I seem to have gotten a lot of negativity in the comments that I saw about that video, about my take on masculinity. That's my honest opinion. That's what I think. I'm not saying that I'm a professor in sociology or philosophy, but that is my interpretation of what I see and what I feel, and I meant what I said. And there's many ways you can articulate your thoughts, and I tried my best. Some people took it in a wrong direction that I didn't mean it to go in terms of that thought, but one thing that I learned is that you can read one book 10 times and get 10 different lessons from it. And so you can show one video to 10 different people and they'll have 10 different outcomes. But one thing that I've learned for sure is that you have to stay true to yourself. And the longer that you hide behind this veil of what you think is going to be appreciated and what's going to be right or whatever, the longer it kind of eats you up. And sure, people walk the planet all the time with this idea of not trying to ruffle any feathers or whatever. For me, the things that I feel passionate about, I speak on. And the fact that 2/3 of the Western world is obese or overweight, to me, that's an alarm. I'm in a space that I have a little bit of influence on people, and I tried my best to influence in the right direction. And this idea of fat shaming and this idea that you're not allowed to tell anybody the truth that you feel deep inside your chest really bothers me, especially when that truth needs to be said for the sake of their health. Obviously, there's many different philosophies on how you approach different problems. Knocking down the front door of a castle is not the only strategy to employ. I grew up in a family in a civil war. My dad was in the war, and the culture that I was brought up in is that you copped criticism face straight. This idea of putting people in cotton wool and running around issues and saying it's okay for you to be 400 fucking pounds is something that is ridiculous to me. It is ridiculous to me, and I will always say it's ridiculous. If I love you like a brother or a sister, it is my duty to tell you when you go wrong. And if I don't do that for you, I am hurting you. I am not being a good friend, a good brother, or a good acquaintance, or whatever you want to name that. And so I try to be brutally honest for the people that I care. And obviously, it's not the right thing to say to every single person that you come into contact with. You notice in that video, I didn't tell anybody and I didn't identify anybody. I'm just telling you in general. When I go around and I see a lot of people overweight, I'm like, how is this possible? How can I be in a party where there is 80% of the people in this party, in this function, whatever gathering that I'm at, and these are the people that are not in my immediate circle? How is it that 80% have some sort of metabolic condition? They're overweight. With that, I know they're on a spectrum of diabetes. Whether they're diagnosed or not, you cannot have a truck tire around your belly for like a whole fat belly, and your weight, your BMI is 50. You can't tell me you don't have diabetes. You have some sort of metabolic condition. And these same people are going to say, how dare you call me out on some of this stuff? Something needs to be had. I think people back in the 50s and the 60s and even the 40s, there was a lot more directness. Now with this woke culture, everyone's too sensitive to hear anything. Any criticism, boom, HR, straight away, boom, 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 call the cops. This guy said to me I was overweight. You can't shame anyone. You can't tell anybody anything. And so this is part of the problem that I said before about the world going in the wrong direction. It is alarming to me. It is really, really alarming to me. And, people are now saying, what's it called? There's a culture of accepting fat. So fat shaming is a problem. We should all start to accept these overweight people and just say, yeah, no worries, that's fine. Keep going, darling. Have another cake. Have another cake. I'll come to your funeral when you're 45 years old. And that's care. We're showing care by doing that. As I said before, Not every problem needs to be attacked with aggression. I realize that. And I'm not somebody that just runs around people in the street shaming them. That's not me. Like I said, I never identified anybody in the video, but I'm trying to be honest of how I feel when I see this stuff. And it is absolutely infuriating that the general populace has deteriorated that much. And yet still, we can't have honest conversations about this problem. You know, the first step with all of these problems is to freaking talk about, identify it. No, you can't talk about somebody's weight. It is absolutely absurd to me. Absolutely absurd. But here we are, in this woke culture we live in. Are you allowed to say that to people at the hospital or will the report? No, Christopher, I would never say that to somebody at work. Like I said to you, like I don't say this to people. I'm just giving you a general commentary about the world we live in. I would never walk up to somebody and say, you are fat. Like, come on, man, like I'm not a monster. If I have some sort of proximity with somebody and I'm friends with somebody and they ask me about something, I would give them my truth. Obviously not in that sense. I would say, you know, mate, I think you're really, really overweight and I'm worried about you. If you need a hand with, you know, cleaning up your nutrition or training, or even if you want to join me at the gym, more than happy. I'm part of the solution, not the problem. Obviously, the people that are close to me, they always know that I'm a resource when it comes to training. I'm not out here to shame people. That is, I want everyone to be healthier. Because think about it, like I work in emergency. I'm not out here to nurse more people that are, you know, obese. I'm not interested in that. I want people to be healthier. Like I generally want people to be healthier. So I would never do that, Chris. Danish says, I think it's more that fat shaming gets bundled with bullying. I think bullying is the cause. I think be direct and telling some girl in high school she is fat as fuck is the difference. Oh no, Danish. So this is the thing. There is a difference between going, you are fat, versus saying to somebody, obviously the approach is everything, right? Saying to somebody in a different circumstance, not in a hallway full of people, you say to them, if you have that relationship with them, like I don't have a relationship with every bloody person that I see in my life, but if you have a relationship with them and they come up to you and they're like, hey, Ivan, training, this, that, the other diet, open up to them, offer them everything and say, look, my friend, I think you are very overweight and I'm very concerned about you. I think your quality of life will go through the roof in terms of how much you enjoy life if you just shave off some of this weight. I can help you. That is not bullying. That is offering some assistance. And everyone in my life that I've had this chat to have been very well receptive, you know, very well receptive. And I've voiced it many times at work. And I say, like, I think it's unacceptable that a 20 to 30-year-old man can't do a single push-up. That is an alarming trend for me. I'm not asking you to bench 3 plates. I'm not asking you to do that. One single push-up? Dude, I'm not even asking you to do anything athletic, dude. This is a basic function. And so you don't shame people. Like a lot of people that saw my video, they're like, oh, you're shaming. I'm not trying to shame. I'm coming from a sense of help. I think it is a red flag for anybody that listens to that video and says, screw that guy, you know, that guy's evil. No, it is a called, what's it called? A call for a reaction. It's a call for, I forget the term, call to action. That's what that is, you know. How is it that when I go to these school gatherings for kids, birthday parties, I look around and I'm like, everyone's overweight? That is a problem, dude. And I'm in this industry or fitness industry, and it's like, imagine being a doctor and not saying to somebody that you should quit smoking. What is the difference between that? If I'm a doctor and I walk into an environment where everyone is smoking and you keep your mouth shut, are you a good doctor? Are you a good practitioner of your genre? If you don't say anything about somebody that's around you who is clearly killing themselves. Your role is to say, I don't think this is good for you. If I see everybody overweight with a tire around their belly, and I don't say anything about, you can't say that, Ivan. So we're accepting. Maybe they don't have anybody in their life that's going to say something to them. I'm not saying you point a finger and you laugh at them. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying offering them guidance is saying to them, oh, but Ivan, they know that. Really? They know that? Maybe they miss some vital information. I don't know. I think it should be discussed. All of these issues should be discussed. Just like mental health. Mental health should be discussed on the forefront. Why are we hiding about mental health? Like nobody's affected by mental health, yet suicide goes through the roof. Especially in men, something like 80% of all suicides are men. We don't talk about it. Or you can't say that. You can't say somebody's depressed. You can't, really? So we're going to put this shit under the bed, under the carpet. We're not going to talk about it. I don't understand why being obese and overweight is so acceptable right now. All these woke people, my question is to you, why is it so acceptable? I don't understand. It is literally a bad thing. Something like 80 to 85% of all medical conditions are metabolic in nature. From cardiovascular to diabetes to liver, like all of this stuff is essentially eating too much food. You have a fatty liver, then it becomes cirrhosis, then you have liver failure, then you have ascites, then you have to begin to drain, and then the kidneys fail, then the heart fails, everything's failing. You can always link back to like some sort of glycation issue. Dementia. There's a lot of it now that's vascular dementia. What's vascular dementia? Oh, the blood pressure is too high. Why is it too high? Oh my God, you're eating too much food and too much glucose. The kidneys are failing, everything's failing. Most of this shit comes down to eating too much food and not enough activity. If you trace back a lot of these conditions, they're metabolic conditions. Yet I can't say to somebody, my friend, you're eating too much food, this is not really good for you. In a benevolent way, like you're trying to help. Bullying, HR, this is wrong, 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 wrong. Really? Really? So when you see somebody that is 400 pounds sitting in McDonald's with 16 freaking burgers and 65 liters of Coke, sucking that shit down, you're supposed to sit there and be like, yeah, good on you, mate. Yeah, no worries. Have a good day. Wouldn't it be more beneficial to walk up to that person and be like, hey, my friend, darling, I mean this from the absolute most beneficial way. I really think you shouldn't be eating this food. It is very bad for you. And she says, fuck off you, fucking dog, blah, blah. Turn around and go. But you've at least tried to help somebody. Be that one single voice in that person's life to be like, my friend, this is very bad for you. Please don't do this. You know, when you see a drug addict on the side of the street, you're like, mate, you shouldn't be doing this. Dude, why are you harassing me, dude? Why I'm going to call the cops, bro. Like, why are you abusing me? Why are you bullying me? Really? Really? This is the state of society. In the West, mind you, this is only in the West. In the East, from where I come from, in Serbia and like the eastern part of Europe, fat shaming is not only acceptable, but is definitely what's happening. It is so acceptable to fat shame. I'm not saying that we want to do that here. No. But people are shamed into being in good shape. Right? That's the cultural difference. You know, it is so acceptable to point out somebody's weight because it is not good for them. You know, obviously I come from a much different world and it's extreme over there. It's extreme. But for all these people that are woke and whatever, you just need to turn the page and look at other parts of the world and be like, okay, how come in the East, 80% of the population is not overweight and obese? Maybe the way they approach this problem is a little bit different. But you know, I get criticized for saying something like, I think it's ludicrous that everyone that I see in here, in all the parents in this birthday party are overweight. And we're sucking down cakes and cordials and Cokes like there's nobody. And nobody's going to say, guys, can somebody drink some freaking water here? You're all morbidly obese. Why are we drinking Coke, man? Is no one going to say that? That to me irritates me. Why the fuck are you drinking Coke, my friend? You are 1 foot in the grave and you're sucking that cheesecake down and you're sucking that Coke down and it's bothering me. It is literally bothering me. Same with smoking. I hate when people smoke. You are smoking in the 21st century. What the fuck are you doing, dude? The information is readily available out there. Smoking is absolute trash. So if I say to my mom, I really think you should be stopping smoking. Bullying, abuse, call the cops, Ivan off to jail. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like I said to you before, the West is going down the toilet. And all of these people, these minority groups who are making these damn rules, these woke people, they are ruining us, man. The West has never been in a poorer state in its history of existence on many different metrics, many different metrics. I'm not saying the East is a bright side either, but there seems to be the pendulum has swung too far, man. At least from the perspective of weight, something's really bad. You know, have breakfast, have second breakfast, have a snack, eat. You know, I see all the time, like some of my kids, you know, they have school, straight after school we have a game, 4 o'clock, they finish at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock they have a game. And between 3 and 4 o'clock, the parents take them to Macca's to eat. So they're walking into a basketball session, basketball match, and I'm the coach, and they've got a bag of fries they're eating. Nobody has died of hunger, of hunger in 3 hours between meals. I don't care if you are 7 years old or 197 years old. 3 hours of fasting is perfectly acceptable for any child of any age. It's fine. But no, we need to feed the kid. Make sure that insulin spikes nice and high.